Hey guys, OGHCNR here, just showing you guys how to solder onto any kind of model railway track. I myself am using Atlas O currently. For those of you that don't know, the reason I'm soldering onto this track is because this is a rather large layout and it requires multiple power drops. Now yes, there is easier alternatives like using a feeder wire with a soldered on wire already from Atlas. These cost about $20 US a piece. That's quite expensive. So I go with the easier option. I solder onto the track. I've also seen people drill holes in the track and screw the wires to the track. I myself like to use solder. So in order to do this, the first thing you do is drill 2 holes on either side for your feeder wires to fit. I myself like to use the far rail and solder onto the outside rail where it's less likely to meet your eye for my grounds. Now, I have read that if you are using isolating rails to activate accessories, it is important to keep all of your grounds on the same rail. So after you feed your wires through, you'll then want to strip the jacket off of your wires. After that's done, make sure you have something to hold the wires. You don't want to be constantly fishing them back through. You're going to want to take your wire. I've already pre-tinned this one here. So in order to tin something, you'll first want to put some solder on it or some flux paste on. After you put your flux paste on, you'll then want to take your solder. Oh, come on. And do what they refer to as tinning the torch. So just get some solder on there, and then you would take your wire and you would, as you see, tin the torch. See how it looks all the color of tin? After that, make sure too, if you're using something like Atlas that has paint on the rails, make sure that you clean the paint off. It will not work if you do not clean the paint. Since I'm using Atlas O track, it has the railroad groove on the metal part of the track itself, so I like to use that groove to my advantage. I place the piece of solder that I will be, or the piece of wire I will be soldering on in that groove. I then use my pliers to hold it there. Now I get a little bit more solder on the torch itself. And I just press it into that groove. Now make sure you really press it in there so it sits nice. Hold the iron on there sometimes too. Heat the track up a little bit. Helps it adhere a little more. When you're done, just hold that there. Let that solder solidify again. And release. Just like that, you've now put a soldering joint onto your railroad. Depending on how large it may be, you may have to do this multiple times. Also, I want anyone who's using these here isolating pins to remember they are on the track and you will burn through them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.